When your team is destined to earn big things a season, even the worst that would have affected your team really finds itself turning out into a positive, because Arsenal have been really way off with injuries, and obviously the Lord has really gotten them to the levels of really seeing most of their players recovering from injuries, and they are back. Even Bukayo Saka, who got an injury over the weekend against Nottingham. In that game, Arsenal won it by 5-0. But remember, Bukayo Saka contributed to the first goal that Arsenal really scored against Nottingham. He is officially back. He's officially back. A player that we thought that maybe will return towards the weekend. We're going to play Newcastle. He's available to play against a side which goes by the names of FC ZURICH tomorrow at the Emirates. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. How are you guys? And where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rokani David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, lower right bottom corner, that's where you're supposed to go and smash the subscription button. After smashing it, hit the notification bell that will enable you get notified each and every time I upload a video onto our channel, and that is Rokani Media Football. It's not only Bukayo Saka that is back. As I told you yesterday, Zinchenko is back, and El Nini is also back in training, and obviously it's really all happy times at Arsenal. Mikel Arteta has gone ahead to really say lots of things as far as the return of these players is concerned. But today, we first got a story coming in from a man who is really a correspondent for Arsenal. He goes, he's called James Beng. He's a soccer correspondent for CBS Sport. He told us that Bukayo Saka in full training with Arsenal at London Conley, and that was the first confirmation coming in out that he's really part of the training session of Arsenal. And I said, I'm not going to hurry to do this story, because yesterday the story I did on Zinchenko returning in Arsenal training this week, all was from a credible source that I got. They told me that he is going to be back this week. That's why I came out and really told you that story. But for Bukayo Saka, I said, let me wait and see whether he's really going to be out into the training clips and videos of Arsenal ahead of the Zurich game. Remember, when the team is going to play against a side in the UEFA Europa League or Champions League, UEFA commands a team to really avail media for 15 minutes to capture the training, and obviously those videos have been really making rounds all over social media, and Bukayo Saka finally has been pictured in the training session of Arsenal. A very huge boost. And obviously the manager of Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, had lots of things to say about Bukayo Saka, El Nini and Zinchenko. In his presser today, as far as that game of football, as far as that game of FC Zurich is concerned, he said on these three players, that is Mohamed El Nini, Zinchenko and Bukayo Saka. He first said they're at different stages. Obviously, Mohamed El Nini had a long-term injury, but he has recovered now in a really good way and has been training with the team for a week or two now. That is Mohamed El Nini. So, Mohamed El Nini got an injury. We never knew, because he played very well and completed the game of Fulham, because Thomas Partey was injured and El Nini came in for him. He got an injury in the game of Fulham, but he never got an injury in the game of Fulham. But after that game tomorrow, we are told that he really got a hamstring injury, and it has seen him out for very many weeks without playing for Arsenal. If I told you, remember very well, the game of Fulham was the third game for Arsenal. It was the third game of Arsenal for the season. Not so. Third game of Arsenal for the season. He played that game after playing it very well. It was the fourth game of the season. And after that fourth game of the season, he has been out for over 1.5 months. We expected him to return in December, as the scan was really telling us. But I was watching FTV. The brother to El Nini told Robbie of FTV that he's going to return sooner than they expected. And last week we saw the photos of Mohamed El Nini training with Arsenal, and obviously he's back in training of Arsenal. And he has been training with Arsenal for 1 or 2 weeks, meaning that he's in contention to play in that game of FC Zurich tomorrow at the Emirates. Then Alex, referring to Zinchenko, said Alex is just very recent and he has had 2 training sessions with Arsenal, as that is on Tuesday and today Wednesday. That is why I came out and told you that he's expected to play a very huge role in the Arsenal training this week, and he might be up for grabs or up for picks in the game of Arsenal versus FC Zurich and start in the game of Chelsea versus Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. That is a player known as Alexander Zinchenko that I told you yesterday that's going to return in the Arsenal training, and obviously the manager Mikel Arteta has come out today in the presser and really talked about it. Then Bukayo Saka, the man of the moment, he told us that Saka just missed 1 or 2 sessions and was fine today, meaning that Arsenal has been training on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. That was the last training, and he has told us that he has just missed 1 or 2 sessions. And obviously the lad is up for grabs to go on and really be considered to play a huge role in the game of FC Zurich tomorrow, meaning that Mikel Arteta might go strong. He might go strong tomorrow in that game of FC Zurich. Reason being, Arsenal need 3 points. And you know how these teams that are really on the bottom of the table really can come out and really become stubborn on you. And Mikel Arteta won't entertain that. He's here to really go ahead and really attain 3 points. Meaning that 3 injury bursts for Arsenal ahead of the Zurich game and Chelsea. Mohamed Elneny is back. Alexander Zinchenko is back. And Bukayo Saka is back. Then Arsenal is really going to end its season towards the World Cup break in a very good way. I think no one is going to come out and really blame them. Sorry, no blame is really going to be put outside there concerning Arsenal and the way they are really going to go on and really get results in these remaining 4 fixtures. FC Zurich, Brighton, that is Carabao Cup, UEFA Europa League, and in the Premier League they're left with Wolverhampton Wanderers and Chelsea, not so. So I expect the best of Arsenal to go on and win those games after the Bukayo Saka, Mohamed Elneny and Zinchenko coming in there. Now, Arteta on whether Bukayo Saka is getting enough protection from referees, he said, I'm sure that the referees have looked at all the incidents and the moment of fouls that our front players and the amount of fouls that our front players are getting, and it's their job to manage the situation in the best possible way possible. You know, I believe that foul that Bukayo Saka really got, that injury, the foul that resulted into the Bukayo Saka injury was not so much dependent onto the opponent, because I think Bukayo Saka fell badly. He fell badly, that's it. And Mikel Arteta, when he talks about Gabriel Jesus, for him, he has been fouled a lot, and I've seen him being brought down a lot, especially in the game of Southampton. Even a penalty was supposed to be granted to him, but it was never given. And very many other games, in the games of PSV where they won PSV at Emirates by 1-0, he was fouled. Even the game away in Netherlands, he was really fouled and really being hit him just because he's a hard player, and I believe he's not an injury prone player. But obviously you don't want to see your players get injuries like these, and all what you should call for is the protection coming in from the referees, and that's what he's really calling for. And obviously these alarms have been criticized by Antonio Conte, but Antonio Conte was criticizing Mikel Arteta that is always complaining because the same officiations or decisions have not been taken against his team. When those officiations were taken against his team, he came out and ranted in the media. So the Arsenal fans went on him and said, all right, you used to say that Mikel Arteta is always complaining. Not so. Then, what are you doing? Are you feeling the music? So, after feeling the music and VR did him something bad, he came out and really complained about it. But it had nothing to change. That is a player, that is the manager of Spurs, Antonio Conte. But Bukayo Saka, the manager, Mikel Arteta, is calling for the protection of his players, especially those that play into the front areas of Arsenal. Mikel Arteta was asked on the decision to take Bukayo Saka off against Forest. When he did, he replied and said that the conversation was about whether he was in or if he was out. But in between, we cannot have him playing 5, 6, or 7 minutes. If you're on the pitch, go sit on the floor and get off. So, the fact is, however much Mikel Arteta has given us such an answer to the question given to him, he never wanted the player to get off the field of play. This boy went on the field of play down thrice. The first time, the second time, and the third time. Mikel had nothing to do for this girl until the boy said, I can no longer play. And he really went off. And I know what was running in his mind was all about the World Cup, meaning that if at all I really insist to stay on the field of play, I might get a terrible injury. So let me get out. We manage this injury as a precaution and see in the next 1 week whether I'll be back. And obviously, Bukayo Saka is back in the training session of Arsenal, very smiling and very happy. I think it's far much better for Mikel Arteta because Nelson came in through and rescued him. He scored a brace and created one. That's the player who came on to replace Bukayo Saka on the field of play. So again on Bukayo Saka, Arteta asked on whether Bukayo was trying to push through the match of Nottingham Forest. He said for sure, but we had to make a decision and we couldn't delay a situation like that because every minute that a player is not 100% to play, it's costing the team and we have to make those decisions quickly. So this is where I don't agree with Arteta. They never made that decision quickly. Mikel Arteta just never wanted Bukayo to get off the field of play. He wanted that win badly. And remember, by that time, it was just 1-0 in favor of Arsenal. And anything could happen and change. If at all that game was like 2-0, 3-0, he would have taken him off immediately. But him seeing Bukayo Saka fall on the ground thrice and not wanting to take him off, obviously, this disagrees, all disconnects from what he's telling us right now that they had to go ahead and really take the decision because every time the player spends on the field not 100% fit, it costs the team. But he saw him go down thrice on the field of play. So this is where I don't agree with Mikel Arteta on Bukayo Saka trying to push through in the game of Nottingham. All this is a package that he has told us about Bukayo Saka's return from that injury that saw him play only 27 minutes in the game of Nottingham, where he really created the first goal that was scored by Martinelli in the 50th minute. Then, after all that, talking about Bukayo Saka injury and so on and so what, then he was asked on whether Bukayo is wanting to play even with a World Cup on the horizon. He said, we are using our brains and our common sense, but obviously he had a kick and wasn't comfortable. He made the decision to get off and now he's feeling fine. We will assess each individual as it comes. But I believe the World Cup is in the brain of every player. Though I've had Casemiro today say that he doesn't think about the World Cup. He'll think about the World Cup when the right time comes, but he's thinking about the remaining games that they're really going to play before the World Cup. And I believe every player who is really playing for the club of Arsenal right now is really so much focused to go on and really look at the UEFA Europa League and the Premier League. Reason being, these are the honest ways Arsenal can really get a title this time. Even in the Carabao Cup, they're going to play against Brighton, a very trick team, next weekend, next midweek. So it shows you that it's going to call for so much more in this period. So the World Cup is around the corner, but the players need to go ahead and really get this job done. But when you look at Arsenal, how many Arsenal players are going to go to the World Cup? Let me count them. Ramsdale, not first choice goalkeeper for England, meaning that he's not going to play a huge part. If Ben White goes, he's not going to play a huge part into the team. Which other player? Saliba. I don't believe Gabriel Magalhaes will go. Then Tomiyasu. Thomas Partey. Grant Xhaka. Sambilo Konga might be taken in the Belgium national team. Bukayo Saka. Gabriel Jesus. I think Arsenal has like 10 players that are going to the World Cup. And if you look at the other players that are going to go to the World Cup, I believe they are also so much important for Arsenal. The likes of Kieran Tierney, Zinchenko, Gabriel Magalhaes, look at Odegaard, Fabio Vieira. Which other player is not going? Martinelli, I don't believe is going. Unless otherwise. Players like Vinicius Jr. get an injury. Elneny is staying. So, Reece Nelson is staying. I believe Arsenal are really going to be having a very good crop of players that are not going to the World Cup. and they will be ready to come on and be do the needful. And most of the players that Arsenal are really having, their teams are not expected to go high. I don't expect Japan to go and make a shock in the World Cup. I don't expect Switzerland to go on and make a shock. That is Granit Xhaka. Which is the team? Ghana of Thomas Partey. I believe Thomas Partey is just going to go on and play 3 games. They won't get out of their group, I really believe. So they have, like, we talk about Saliba, Bukayo Saka, Ben White, Aaron Ramsdale, and Gabriel Jesus. Brazil, England, and France. For those 3 teams, I really believe they can go ahead and do the. Oh, even Matt Turner for USA, he's also going. So that's the exact number of players of Arsenal that are going to the World Cup, meaning that they'll have a very huge squad left. They'll have a very huge squad left for Arsenal to prepare for the resuming of the Premier League at, what team are they playing? I think they're playing, is it West Ham? On the 26th of December, they are playing West Ham. Not so. So the World Cup horizon is really one of those that people are really looking at. Now, let me show you how Zinchenko and Bukayo Saka really trained today at the London Colney. That is Zinchenko seated on the balls. It's Bukayo Saka, not Zinchenko. It's Bukayo seated. Bukayo again, smiling, feeling okay. This is Alexander Zinchenko training with Arsenal. And obviously, that is Zinchenko trying to do a dribble. Good to see him back into the training sessions of Arsenal. So, guys, thank you very much for watching in. Saka, Elneny, Zinchenko back in training. And obviously, what a way to really have a boost for Arsenal ahead of the Chelsea and FC Zurich game. Your reactions are welcome in the comment section below. Last video of the day, guys. Good night. 3 videos, as I've told you, they really amounted to the number I promised you. I think you've gotten everything. But tomorrow, I start off with the story of Mikel Arteta being linked to Barcelona. Barcelona is really putting a very huge eye on him as a replacement for Xavi. Do you think you leave Arsenal and go to Barca? That's an answer for tomorrow, and that's why you have to go on and subscribe to this channel. After subscribing, hit the notification bell that will enable you get notified each and every time I upload the video onto this channel, because you will miss out on such stories for you don't subscribe. I hand you over to the Almighty Lord to watch over you in the night. I'm out.